Dire team ban.
Alright, welcome to game number 1 of Team Thinker versus Polar Ace. Casting with me today is Avatar. Avatar, how you doing?
I'm good. Ready to watch some Dota.
Yeah, man. Avatar is you have shot up in rank, since we last casted together. My god, what were you last time? 5k? And now you're like
No,
7.5?
no, I'm like 6.5.
Dire
Nah,
team pick.
I definitely think you're higher, dude.
Radiant team pick.
There's no way.
Well, I'm looking at it. Definitely 6.5. Hold on, my dog's.
Anyway. So we do have a couple bans. We have a couple of picks already. They are moving pretty quickly. Right off the bat, we did have a Winter Wyvern, Enchantress, and Earthshaker ban on the side of Team Thinker. Some pretty good bans, very meta right now. And Polar Ace banned out Weaver, Silencer, and Wraith King. With an immediate pickup, the first pick being Dark Willow, a strong laner, very good support, great kit. And Polar Ace responded with Lina Shadow Demon in opener. Not sure if the Lina is going to be a core, but that's the beauty of Polar Ace's draft. Tiny picked up. This is kind of I don't know if I want to say outdated, but it's definitely something we've seen before in the international as a way to deal high burst hero damage and typically seen as a mid, but able to go everywhere else. So I'm excited to see how they decide to work with it. Because they picked it at second, they might be thinking of doing something pretty original with it. So we can definitely hope.
Dire team ban.
Tiny owns Lina mid, so it kind of ruins your like flex. Like you pick this Lina first, and it can go mid or it could go 4, right?
Right.
But it kind of can't go mid now because they have this Tiny, and it's just gonna get fucked mid by Tiny. Like CCNC got fucked by no one in that matchup at TI, and then like they also can do Tiny Dark Willow, which is like a really strong off lane because if you just catch them with Tiny Stun, it sets up a Bramble, and then you get like 2 hits off, and then like Dark Willow gets your W hit, and it does a bunch of damage. If you
So it negates their draft, but also enables Team Thinkers.
Yeah, I feel like it was pretty obvious based off like the first phase bans of like the tier 1 heroes that were still available. Tiny is like the first hero that comes to mind for me. And then they didn't pick it when they had the chance. And then it also like they picked Dark Willow first, right? And Tiny synergizes super well with that. And they picked something that's countered by the Tiny and Lina. Like, because like I guess they have this idea of they can pick this like Lina SD support duo, right? And it could flex into different roles, but also if it's a support duo, you just banish into like Lina stun all around the map and try and set up kills. So
what about the Shadow Demon save? Right, wouldn't that be able to stop that combo? I mean, it would be able to kind of negate the wombo.
It's pretty good.
So that's an interesting kind of support to pick.
You can just go on the Shadow Demon though. I mean, he's kind of screwed. But like it doesn't really secure the lane, and also these heroes want to roam a lot as a support duo, and you can't really roam when you have this Dark Willow Tiny because whoever you put safe lane is just gonna die. So you either have to like dodge and do some weird shit, or you have to like put all 3 heroes in tri lane against them. So I think they're like a little shoeholder now, but I think they'll pick cores. Oh god.
Yikes.
Alright, so one of the heroes, this Shadow Demon and Lina, is definitely core, because I don't think it's a core on 9. Dirge is pretty good here. I kind of don't like picking Dirge when I only see 2 heroes, because they can just pick 3 heroes that all own the Tombstone and lane well against Dirge, and then it's kind of like playing a 5v4, because he's really useless.
Right.
But
he's kind of a better last pick, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he's better like later pick. Like you usually want to see 3 heroes before you pick an Undying. But it's really good against Tiny and Dark Willow because they're heroes that rely on burst, but it's pretty tanky, and it also offers a heal. So like if you're trying to burst someone, like he can just throw his W on them and heal them, and it oftentimes can like help you survive the burst. And also neither of those heroes are very good at hitting Tombstone. Like Tiny doesn't want to be hitting a Tombstone. Dark Willow does not want to be like slowed and in close enough to hit a Tombstone.
Right. Yeah, Dark Willow does kind of play from a distance. The Shadow Realm is really good at doing the sniping, long-range attacks. Bramble, of course, as well. So Tiny IO, what do you think about that?
I think it's pretty good to have Tiny and Wisp together because you can pick like you're kind of leaving open because a lot of teams like picking Wisp with Gyrocopter, and when you pick IO plus Tiny, you can just that's like a really strong lane together, and then also it can like you can still just pick Gyro, and they have to like think about it like do they want to pick a counter to Gyro, especially because PL is like the most common Gyrocopter ban or counter right now, right? And
they
banned PL, right? So now you're like, okay, well, if they gyro, we don't have the best response to the gyro. But if you ban the gyro, they don't really care because they already have the Tiny to go with the Wisp anyways, right? So like the Wisp doesn't really need the gyro. So it's like really strong having this Tiny and Wisp, and especially with the PL ban that they've already had.
Right. So what do you think about the Necro ban? I mean, I guess that's because
Radiant team
they don't want to
pick.
play against them because they have a lot of right click, or they plan to.
Really good versus Tiny, and it's like kind of an annoying laner to deal with. Like it's kind of hard to burst. Like if you just go 1-1-0 and you get level 2 on the Necro, you're
Right.
kind of hard for that like Willow Tiny lane to burst. And also Tiny has a really big HP pool, and Necro is nice against big HP pool heroes because he can just scythe them, you know?
Right. So they pick the
10 seconds
gyrocopter to
remaining.
kind of keep Team Thinker from picking. Do you think we could be
Yeah.
looking at like a
5
CK
seconds
or something
remaining.
close, maybe a Brewmaster?
I don't know about CK or Brew per se. I think they want to pick some like high, like some like catch hero because you want to get on top of Gyrocopter. That's how you beat him. Right now you have the Tiny you can get on top of him. So you kind of want like another hero that gets on top of him, and you don't want to pick a hero that shows your mid here, in my opinion. Well, you kind of can, because if you pick like a for sure offlaner or a for sure mid, you're showing. Yeah, actually, I'd pick my mid here. I would counter pick the Lina mid because I want the Tiny to lean against the Gyro because it's like really hard because Gyro's like 40 damage or whatever, and Tiny picks up a tree and hits like 100 damage. It's so hard to out CS him.
Right.
The Tiny as Gyro, like the lane comes really hard. So the only way that you can really play it is by killing them, and you as Tiny Wisp, you can't really get killed by undying Gyro.
Right,
And
because
it's
he just
pretty-
keeps getting healed. There's no way.
Yeah. And it's either a Shadow Demon off lane or it's
Dire team
like
back.
mid Lina. So alright, they picked Zeus. This is really weird. I don't like that at all.
Mm.
I really don't like Zeus. I guess it's a lot of magic burst, which Gyrocopter doesn't like being forced into going a really quick BKB because he wants a long BKB in the late game so he can
But
get all
they
his
don't
attacks
have
off
any
and kills
catch,
people.
right? Because they sacrifice the IO.
Well, no. It loses lane to Lina middle.
10 seconds remaining.
You just like the Lina just free farms, and so it's either Zeus
5
off lane,
seconds remaining.
which I guess could be alright, but it doesn't really offer a stun to set up with Dark Willow. It doesn't really like tank for IO.
Radiant
And then-
team ban.
So it's either that goes mid and it doesn't do as well against Lina, and you're pretty sure, unless like they know something about this team, like they scrim a lot, then they don't know that the like Shadow Demon's a core or something weird like that. That means the Lina could still be a support, right?
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe these teams know something about each other. Like they know that they like to run like SD Lina dual off lane or something, so they know it's not a Lina mid. But if it were to be a
10
Lina mid
seconds
and
remaining.
it's Dirge Shadow Demon to supports, the Zeus
5
does not do
seconds
great in lane
remaining.
against Lina. Like they both kind of farm, but it gets to a point where Lina's like a hero that can get on top of Zeus, right?
Right.
And you kind of want these matchups against Zeus. Like Lina doesn't fucking care about Zeus because like Zeus is never gonna kill her, whereas like Lina can just nuke out the wave.
Right. Keep it pushed. Get the bottle runes as well. Zeus really
Yeah.
kind of relies on that.
Yeah.
And there's no way he's going to beat her to a rune because he's so
Radiant
slow. His
team
movement
pick.
speed is
Yeah,
terrible.
it kind of comes to something where you both just click Q a bunch, and Lina is way more happy with clicking Q a bunch.
Ursa, what do you think about that? I mean, still no catch like you said, but
No, it kind of offers catch once you get like Blink Basher, and they have the Tiny to catch. They don't have a lot of stuns, is a little concerning. Like their stuns are like Tiny and Dark Willow, so Dark Willow has to play really far back in these fights, which I think they're okay with. It's not a great Tombstone hitter. You kind of want a ranged hero with decent attack speed that Tombstone, like
10
Lina or
seconds
Mirana or
remaining.
something like that, right?
right.
But they have this Ursa, and Ursa
5
sounds like a good
seconds
Tombstone hitter because you're like, oh, you can just blink in with his W and hit Tombstone. But as an Ursa, like think about how you want to play as Ursa. You want to jump in and burst the hero, and jumping in and bursting a Tombstone does not accomplish that, right? And you're gonna have to like BKB to do it, right? Too, because if you don't BKB, then you're gonna get Lina stunned, and you're gonna get Shadow Demon purged anyways, and then you're not gonna be able to get out. So it's like
And not
kinda
only
awkward.
that, they have plenty of kite in this game. I mean, the Tombstone alone would kite you. Shadow Demon could stop you. Lina could also
Yeah.
stun you. She's gonna probably build Yules. So I mean, depending on what their last pick is too. I mean,
Yeah, I would like some offlaner that fares well against the Ursa in lane, in my opinion here. Like something that can like reliably kind of win this lane. And they're gonna have probably a Shadow Demon with it, because the IO Tiny is probably the Radiant's off lane, right? And you
Right.
want the Dirge against the Wisp, because it's really easy to get double decays, because they play like Wisp is obviously really close to the core because they're tethered. So you want the Dirge against that lane. So it's probably Shadow Demon +1, and something that can fuck Ursa with Shadow Demon plus that is like what you kind of want here, right? Because this is like your last pick. This is your game-winning hero. So this hero should stomp the lane against Ursa, and as long as Radiant don't stomp lanes, it's going to be really hard for them to ever fight Dire, because they're going to have to find some way of killing this Tombstone and killing this gyrocopter.
Right. So what do you think? What do you think would be a good pick here? Because I mean, the gyrocopter was a denial pick, but I mean, I don't really see how it's super enabled. You know, they have to put a lot of resources into this.
Yeah.
Drow Ranger.
There you go. That's a good way to enable him. But Drow also can't fall behind. So,
Okay,
that's
so
a great
Drow
pick.
is, yeah, it's pretty cool because Drow can go mid against Zeus, and it's kind of the same concept as that Lina versus Zeus thing, where you just put the Drow middle, and like Zeus is never going to pressure, right? So Drow is normally a hero that is really garbage in lane because you just kind of run at her, right?
Right.
But because you can put it mid, if they do put it mid, you can put it mid against the Zeus, right? And then it's never like Zeus. How is Zeus going to pressure a Drow who's just standing 800 range away from the creeps, right clicking them, and he can't deny against her, right? So then all of a sudden you get this really farmed Drow, which isn't something that you usually get.
Right.
My main concern is enabling this gyrocopter to get into the game, but I really like Dire's draft. I think it's really strong. So
I was thinking, you know, if Team Thinker really want to turn this around on Polar Ace's draft, I think the IO relocate with the Tiny has to be on point and on the Drow often, pretty much as often as it's up. And then also if the Ursa gets an early Blink Dagger, he's gonna want to have to attack the Drow as well to try and really shut her down. If she falls behind, that really kind of means that you can focus on just doing the gyro.
yeah, this is actually a really good Drow pick. I think that was the best pick they could have. Oh, it's going safe lane? Ooh. I don't know about this. If this Drow would have gone middle, I think this Drow, like I think Dire have the right idea picking this Drow. I think this is an old-age pick, but they're just not playing it right. Like, this Drow goes middle, he just free farms.
Right.
And top lane, like Undying plus Drow does just as garbage as Gyro plus Drow. I guess they're sending the Gyro middle.
Right.
So
we have a rotation of 4. It looks like they're going to try for first blood. And we do have really one Drow who might take the bait.
They have no stuns. There's like no way this kill works. They have to hit some like insane bramble where Drow can't get around it unless he procs like 2 brambles because they have no slows to follow up. Like they can Ursa clap, but it's like Drow's gonna see them coming before they get in range to Ursa clap, and Tiny has his tree, which he wants to get for his lane, you know.
Did they just reveal 4 heroes without doing anything?
I mean, yeah, they're just trying to secure 2 runes, right? They just want to make sure they get 2 runes. The same thing's happening bottom. They just ran 3 heroes bottom because they want to get 2 runes. And they get to play some wards. Zeus is gonna get a better block than the Gyro though. I don't know how much that means this matchup though.
Yeah, the Gyro has such low range unless he uses abilities. I don't think that this
he's always gonna be in range. He's always gonna be in range to get queued by the Zeus. And Zeus also is not a great right clicker, but he hits way harder than Gyrocopter. I think Gyro can own the matchup with levels because you just rocket him and dive him, and he's kind of susceptible to getting rocketed. He's got like really slow attack speed, so he can't kill it, right?
Right.
Stuff like that. But I feel like until Gyro gets like level 6, this matchup should be super Zeus favored. I think this is shit on.
Zeus missed the block, and you know what? He actually scaled Lightning Bolt instead of Arc Lightning because he just kind of anticipated there being a Gyro. And look at that. I mean, he could just burst him.
Yeah, I don't get this Lightning Bolt. It seems really weird.
Gyro walking up on him, throwing out the Rocket Barrage. Let's check in on bottom. We have the IO Ursa. So they're gonna run the IO Ursa first instead of the IO Tiny like we thought.
Yeah, this is fine. This is probably better for them because when
they can catch with the Tiny and the Dark Willow,
yeah,
right?
Dark Willow Tiny does not synergize well because Dark Willow wants a hero that has like a stun with him to help set up his bramble. Because it's hard to just bramble someone, you know.
Right.
You want to like stun someone and then bramble to follow up the stun, and then you can like E, like you could E into Tiny stun into bramble. And they're kind of just disabled for like 6 seconds, and you're just wailing on them with right clicks the whole time. Dark Willow attacks really fast, Tiny hits really hard. So it seems pretty good. The Zeus is CSing really well middle, but I think he should have gone Q level 1. Because you can just, even like the only reason I can see to not go Q level 1 is that you don't want to push the lane in. But against Tiny, or against Gyro, it's pretty good to push the lane into his tower, right? Because obviously they're not going to really rotate heroes on you. Well, it's highly unlikely that they rotate heroes on you level 1. And like, Gyro hits for like, he's level 3 now. He hits for like 52 damage at level 1 with the Drow damage. That's not very high, so you can kind of just go under tower and grief all the CS, and he's gonna miss like all the creeps. Something a lot of people do to punish Jasmine.
Oh, up top, looks like we got our first blood. I guess they actually comboed it with Avalanche, so they got them in the Bramble, like you said.
Yeah, stunned the Bramble. I mean, this lane's gonna be really hard for them.
Looks like Nika might fall. one lightning strike from above.
Ursa's getting on bottom. I don't think they can kill him.
Down bottom, Ursa.
They're really
Running
just like
away. He's got 3 stacks. If he gets one
No,
more, it
it's
might be in
level
danger,
one.
but he's still healing.
It's
Here he
level 1.
goes.
Doesn't do much damage. I dislike the skill build by the Shadow Demon. I would like him to be 1-1-0 right now. Because you just banish into like... You banish into like setting up the stun, right? You want to click W and just amp the damage you're doing in that time. Instead, like he spent his entire mana pool using Q and it did literally nothing. Or using E and it did nothing.
I love the right-click Shadow Demon build. I think that is just such a treat to see. When they just max out the 1 and the 2. And they just
I mean, I definitely think you max out 3 in this lane, but I think at level 2 you should be 1-1-0. Because you just want to burst with your combo. You don't want to like click E over and over. E is kind of like
Up top,
a trait.
Nephilim going a bit deep for the strength. Bramble gonna miss, hits Ned, but they're
It's
gonna
hard to-
safely retreat under the tower.
It's hard to hit brambles like that.
Yeah, like you said, they want to follow up with a stun, so we'll have to see. Yeah, man, I liked how Dyer was playing the off lane early. Oh my gosh, how do we keep missing this?
Yeah,
It's like
I mean,
this-
Undying doesn't really care too much about dying as long as Dro's farming. It's kind of how like laning is the support right now. It's like you don't really care about dying as long as you, as long as you're farming. And then also with him dying, a lot of times you use all your resources and you kind of want to die. Like you use all your mana and then you're like 200 HP and you're like 16 strength storm, and as soon as it goes away, you're gonna have like 1 HP and have no mana. So you kind of want to die anyways. Meanwhile, mid, Gyro's in
Mid?
trouble.
Gyro running the opposite direction, Versitus trying to finish the job, but gosh, we are just missing everything right now.
I gotta be more. I
Ursa,
gotta be
now
more
formidable, chasing after Cello. No slows available, but the stop comes through. And Uno rotates back in, and they might actually cause a little bit of trouble for the IO. The wand save is there, but not for long. Gosh, the Radiant are just owning this early game. Frisbee chasing after Cello, doing his best to try and get something.
Like we said, it's kind of what Radiant need to have happen, right? They need to own the lanes, otherwise the game's gonna be really hard.
They have a lot of
Yes.
kill potential in all of these different lanes, so I think that it's
For sure.
kind of hard to keep up with these.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird. Like mid, I think is like really wonky right now.
Looks like they want to go on the IO. Oh, they cancel the salve. Just a little bit. Barely touched it.
I won't lie, that was unexpected.
And now if you drop low, the Zeus has his ultimate, so he can just get the snipe.
Yeah. For sure. Does a lot of damage.
Ooh. They're going on the Drow. Up top, Avalanche lands. Bramble, toss, and just barely. Oof. And they drop
Yeah.
the Tombstone. Free farm.
Big deny. It's like this is the issue with putting the Stro here is he's just gonna get stomped. So mid becomes a more interesting lane now that Gyrocopter is level 6. It's a lot more killable. I'd maybe even like the Lina or the Shadow Demon to like pull and then run mid or something.
Right. Oh, they catch the Ursa with the stun, but
Yeah.
with the IO quick save, we'll be fine.
I don't know. I'd really like for him to at
Up
least
top, Ned getting gone on again. Avalanche, and this time into the Thorn.
Jor needs to go jungle. He can't main here anymore. This is not playable. He's just gonna die over and over.
Oof. Yeah, it's a rough game for a Dro. Again, the middle might have been
Radiant's
better
middle
because you would have
tower
been
is
able to
under
get some of
attack.
the levels. Levels would have helped the right-click damage. Gyrocopter is a little bit tankier, and
Dire's middle
Can-
tower.
Yeah, if he had a Wander with him, bottom lane like playing more setup.
jeez, Gyro
He doesn't
rotated.
have any
Frisbee.
heals on that. There's no more
With the
heals on this.
stun, they might dive this. They will. Lina picking up the last hit.
Got a light.
Yeah, if this Stro went mid with a wand, he would have free farmed. Like Zeus cannot force you out of lane. You just buy a bunch of salves. You don't really care.
Yeah, and Zeus has a haste rune right now. He's chasing after the Gyro. He does see him. Might have used up all his mana to salve. Can he finish the job? He does not have the mana. 2-3 seconds, but he's getting comboed. Dragon Slave. Ooh. Right click. Uno. Finishing the
Radiant's
job.
bottom tower
In a chilly
is under
kind of way.
attack.
Stroh's still top. He's gonna get getting built.
Avalanche underneath the tower. Tombstone is down. Trying to zone out the Tiny.
Dire's top
And
tower is
Imprian
under
comes in
attack.
from behind. But the Gyrocopter with the quick rotation. T-Swift gonna fall even with the toss. Value Shrines? Shrines
Okay.
Avatar?
Purple bitched out. That was good shooter. That was really smart. Like, it's good by Tiny to dive right there, because A, you can get a kill and Dro, and B, you have a catapult. So, like, you just do this dive shit, and while you're diving, the catapult's just wailing on the tower, right? But the Dark Willow bitched out, and then he just kind of, like, left this Tiny under a tower, and he had, like, Tombstone Zombie slowing him.
Dire's middle
And then the
tower
catapult
is under
died because, like, there were no creeps to the catapult. So, like, if you look at their tower, it took 150 damage. This tower should have taken, like, 700.
Frisbee down bottom with the stomp and the couple of right clicks. IO trying to save the day, keep him alive. 3 stacks on him. Ooh,
He's dead.
just manages to get 4. This is
He's dead.
scary.
He's definitely dead. If he pops the stacks, he will die. But he's not popping the stacks. Still might die.
That hurt. That hurt
Yeah,
to
that was-
watch.
That was 300 magic damage. He had 250 HP.
Yeah, I mean, he might have lived if IO had kept tethering him and not broken it early.
No. Io had no heals. There's no. He look at Io's items. When he doesn't have stick charges, he doesn't heal at all. Like, he can heal, he can get the passive 2 HP per second, but that wouldn't have saved him. Because Io is doing something where he, like, wants to rush Soul Ring, but he also wants to rush Urn, and he's, like, not buying a bottle. So, and then maybe he's got something on the courier. Okay, he's got a Soul Ring though on the courier. He's also not buying any more salves or fairy fires, so he doesn't really offer much healing.
What do you think about the Helmet the Dominator build on IO? I've always wanted to ask an
Is
expert.
under attack.
I mean, it's pretty good. You can play the map more aggressively. It's, like, kind of slow, though. You kind of just want to rice with that build. And in a lot of games where you want to rice, you're kind of counterpicked, and you don't want to, like... It's awkward, because it's, like, you kind of want to just farm with that build. You just, like, run around through creep farming jungle, and you're, like, really fast, so you're, like, hard to catch, you know?
Right.
But it's hard to play... Like, those games where you want to just farm, usually it's because you're counterpicked a lot and you just need a lot of items to do your thing. Otherwise, it just feels a lot better to grab, like, Urn Bottle and just heal a bunch and be really impactful.
Right.
But there's some games where you're counterpicked, like they have a Storm or something that's just going to get on top of you all game and ruin your game unless you're really farmed. And in those games, I feel like you kind of want it. But in the same token, in those games, the items that you need to be able to survive aren't Helmet the Dominator, so that's why a lot of people don't do it.
Radiant's middle tower
Nice
is
double
under
stack
attack.
from IO, trying to go for the rune. They're out the Bramble, trying to get away, and Priyan getting right-clicked down by Ned.
I strongly dislike the fact that this Shadow Demon does not have even 1 point in this W at level 7. Like, it's 20% bonus damage, that's a lot, like, especially with, like, if this Nina nukes, it does 235 plus 80, that's like 300 damage, right? Plus there's magic resist, so it does like 225 instead, and you could just add 20% more to that, that's like, what? Like 44 or 45 damage. It's like 45 extra damage, plus all the right clicks you're doing, plus like your own right click damage, plus the illusions are right clicking and getting damage, plus since you have max shadow poison that does a lot of damage, like 20% is a lot of damage.
Ooh,
Really
up top, Tiny tried to go in, relocate coming in, chasing underneath the tower, the right clicks are there. Ursa picks up the Undying, chasing now after the Tombstone, but getting right clicked by the Drow, and T-Swift and Imprian come right up under, pick up the Luna as well, but Frisbee still stuck in the trees. Oh, he gets burst down. And T-Swift, now stunned, getting kited by Cielo. The salve on Ned. Nice kite, nice kite.
He's dead. Oh.
And he is gone. Thorn's crown on Undying, but
Dire's
won't
top
do
tower
anything
is
to
under
delay
attack.
his fate.
Yeah, that could have been a lot better. For the original move was fine by Radiant, but then the IO left the Urso, and then he didn't tether him back and bring him back to where they relocated from. And then also, like, then the Tiny feels obligated to keep diving because his Ursa's under the tower, right? So then they both died. But I think Tiny could have just disengaged and Ursa
Nice
could have
pick.
rolled out.
Ursa, Undying, walked into the wrong neighborhood.
Radiant's bottom
So,
tower
alright,
is
he's just
under
walking the
attack.
Roche. Radiant want to start playing the top half. Both teams want to play the top half of the map because Radiant want to Roche and Dire want to make sure Radiant don't Roche. He should take this. Oh,
Radiant's bottom tower is under
I would have given that
attack.
regen to my Wisp. They'd make this rush so easy.
Yeah.
This rush is kind of awkward. You want
Radiant's bottom tower.
5 points. Your second and third spell on.
Ooh, Gyro with the ultimate sees the Roche Dragon Slave. Waifu will fall, and the Rocket Barrage picks up the. Oh, he picks up the Ursa. And now they know Roche is so low, so they have to play around the pit.
Yeah.
Both teams scramble. They throw out the ultimate, they see the rotations, but immediately, tiny toss combo. Ooh, they go right back in.
It's kind of awkward to kill this Roche right now, because he's just sitting on the ground, and Ursa's not there, and they want Ursa to pick it up. I guess Tiny's just gonna take it. Definitely not Zeus. Okay. Definitely don't let Zeus take that.
That's how it happened.
That's a report on Yellow.
That's a report.
Definitely gonna watch to see how Yellow uses the Aegis, but I feel like this is either just gonna expire because they're not catching the Zeus, or Yellow's gonna feel obligated to put himself in some garbage aggressive position as Zeus.
And then he's gonna die twice.
And then he's gonna die twice, or he's gonna die and he was gonna die twice anyways because it's Zeus. Right. I feel like Zeus is not a great Aegis hero, but maybe I'm not seeing something.
I like to see frontliners do it. Maybe it's just like they're thinking, oh, it's an extra region, it doesn't matter. Maybe it's their most farmed for. I'm not sure.
I think they wanted Ursa to take it, but he was dead, and they were like, fuck it, let's kill Roche. So they killed Roche, and then they're like, wait, Ursa's not here.
But why not
Zeus
Tiny,
like,
who's going to be blinking on them? You know, that would be...
I don't know, they just panic, and someone's like, pick it up. And Zeus is like, alright, whatever. I got Aegis.
Chelomello and Nephilim up top. Just pushing out the wave with the poison. Nice little bit of farm for the Shadow Demon. Rushing a Force Staff.
Radiant are scanning.
On ST? Yeah, you need Force Staff against Ursa. Usually, like, Radiant or Dire just want to kite and farm. Like, Dire win this late, so they just want to farm. Even though, like Ursa and Tiny do not scale particularly well. Zeus scales pretty well, and Dark Willow scales alright, but the other three heroes don't scale particularly great. They just want to farm their
They just have the blink reveal onto Cello Avalanche with the thorns. Oh, and he dodges it, but it's not enough. The ultimate comes out from Zeus.
So right now, Radiant want to get the top and mid tier ones to open up the map. They want to be able to play in the enemy jungle and not let the enemies farm. And if they are going to farm, they want to make sure they're farming more of the map than the enemies are. So they want to like pressure this. They also should deward this Dire ward. Beneath the runes.
15-minute runes will be an even split between both teams.
Yeah.
Nephilim. What is Undying build? When does Undying start to have some impact?
The whole game, because they have no one that hits Tombstone the entire game.
So he doesn't really need any like Crimson Guards or anything like that,
No,
does
he
he?
needs legitimately, he just wants levels. He just wants to get his talents. Dirge wants XP. Maybe buy like a Force Staff, or you probably buy a Force as an item, but like you don't really.
Oh, smoke coming out from the Dire. Ned not going to join them.
Yeah, he's a Drow. He wants the jungle. This Drow wants Pike Shadowblade really bad, in my opinion.
Who will they find? Are they just...
Ursa, they're trying to get the mid-tier one. They want to kill the guy who's defending the mid-tier one and then take the tower. That's definitely not the way you initiate that play.
And T-Swift blinks forward onto Cello. The crown comes out onto Uno, and Priyan gets burst down with the Laguna, but Lina will fall as well. Meanwhile, the Tombstone gets picked up by Frisbee, and the ultimate will clean up Cello from Vercitus. The TP4 is still looking for Nika. They find him with the Avalanche, but can they reach the toss? 9 seconds, they're gonna back off. Oh.
Ooh,
Haste.
I really don't like that TP. Gray's gonna die. Gray does not want to be top. Ned, the Drow, that guy does not want to be there. They're gonna kill him. They should know he teleported here. That's the only way he could have gotten here. This guy should die.
Little pink waifu finds him on top of him with the crown. Stun misses. Ned gets picked up, solo killed by the Dark Willow. And they might look for more. Maybe on the Luna they could dive here. With the Ursa? Absolutely.
You know he has no teleport. This guy's dead too. They need to stop feeding heroes up here.
Fatal Uno.
Spirits.
One more hit. Frisbee. With the kill.
Dude, he still doesn't have his W skills in Shadow Demon. This guy's
Is under
insane.
attack.
Maybe they
Like-
just needed some wave clear. I don't know. Or maybe he planned to farm a little bit more.
Dire's middle
But why is he
tower
maxing his
under
Q? There's
attack.
not even a good hero to banish. Like, I guess Drow illusions are pretty good, but he's not banishing the Drow.
Maybe
I
that
don't
was
get, like...
the plan?
I mean, I could see if he's against, like, a Morphling or, like, a Terrorblade or some enemy hero that you get really sick illusions from banishing that do so much damage, right? Or, like, a Radiance hero, right? But he's not. And he's using Banish aggressively to set up for this Lena stuns and shit, right? He's
Right.
not really using it much defensively. So, like, why does he have this max? Like, he
Yeah,
could
the
legitimately
duration
just be, like,
stays the
1-4-4.
same, so you can just put 1 point, yeah.
He could just go 1-4-4 and like add 50% bonus pure damage to his team's damage. Like he could add a lot of damage to the people they're catching. Because like you just kind of catch a hero and you pop a tombstone down and it's like garbage for them to run into tombstone and you just add 50% pure damage, so you're for sure bursting the guy you jump on.
Absolutely.
I think this is kind of like a situation where a lot of lower MMR players just go the same skill build every single game. I think that's kind of what the situation is.
Right.
Dire's middle tower.
Three
is under
people?
attack.
From the Radiant side, just camping out the jungle.
Yeah,
As they
that's
attempt to
exactly
push
how
the
Radiant
lane.
should play. Radiant should play in the enemy jungle. They should try and get a ward down behind the enemy tier 1 tower middle. They can kill this tier 2 top. I feel like they should be pressuring a little more, unless they're waiting for some item timing. Like maybe they're waiting Echo Saber and Basher on their course, and the Hood on the Wisp. These are pretty big items to them.
Dire smoked up. Looks like they want to take a fight.
Yeah, this is a good smoke. Like this.
Chillamelli.
Nah, they shouldn't.
They
Yeah.
fail.
Nope.
The banish into the first hit will dodge both, actually.
Dire's middle
Tombstone
tower
is down, and
under
Priyan is
attack.
the only one caught, maybe looking for a
Dire's middle
reinitiation.
tower has fallen.
And I think that's exactly what they're going to do. They do burst him down with the Laguna. The crown is onto Nika. Gyrocopter lags behind. 3 people charge forward onto the
Definitely
Dire.
don't keep chasing.
But
This is how you
T-Swift, with the avalanche and the toss, manages to pick up. Ooh, 2 down already. Just demolishing them, eating through them, disintegrating through them. I don't even see some heroes
Radiant
anymore.
structures are
Though,
fortified.
oh, they're reloading bottom. On the Drow. He's dead.
Radiant's
And that's
bottom
4
tower
down
is under attack.
for 1.
They should all run top again, like right away. Definitely at least Tiny should go run top right now.
Radiant's
They're going
bottom
to
tower
relocate back
has
in.
been denied.
Yeah, but they should start running. They want to play top. They don't want to play bottom. They can leave someone here to push this lane out. That's fine, but they don't really want to play bottom.
Just what I was waiting for.
Buyback.
I won't lie.
Onto Shadow Demon.
Expected.
As they throw out the missile, chasing forward onto the Ursa, but the slow from the IO. Perfectly played. And the
Oh.
blink forward?
Whisper fucking ditched.
He got ditched.
This Zeus is so farm. This guy's just icing the whole time.
Yeah, once
Like,
he
the
gets
thing
his
is, his-
tags, there's no
yeah.
way that they can't
His team's
initiate.
his team's applying so much pressure on the map, but then like he's just ricing all the time. He's just farming creeps, and that's pretty much what he needs to do. Like unless they're making some move, like they want to get some kill into Roshan, he should just kind of farm middle.
Blink forward, avalanche toss, bramble, right click, and they manage to pick him up, and Priyan with the last hit.
I would just use this tome from Dirge. I don't know who he's saving tome for, but I like if I'm Dirge in this game, I really want levels.
I think the Dire are mad. You look at all the different, look at all the different scribbles on the map.
I think the Sturge really wants the tombstone or the tome. Sorry, like I think he really wants levels. Like you want to get 15 and you really want to get level 20 on Undying. Once you get 20, you don't really care as much, but you definitely want to get level 20. You want that tomb hits to kill. It becomes really annoying, right? Because right now it's like 8 hits to kill the tomb, and it's like 8
First, they
more
can
if you
do it
get
in one hit,
big
one
heal.
go.
Yeah. But once you get that like plus 6 attacks to destroy, then Ursa can't kill it like right away. So it's like really good to get level 20. But he's just holding this tome. I don't really know what for.
Yeah, and the Dire not playing that top half of the map. They can't contest against
They
them.
can't.
I think they've
No.
lost too many fights.
They can't contest because they're like that's not what their lineup does because the way they lane. Like they're really far behind because the way they laned. So, yeah,
Ye-
that's just kind of what happens. And now they're gonna get Roche again. This game's going really well for Radiant. This is kind of how they want to play it. They just want to play in the enemy jungle and like place observer wards and stand on them and farm mid and top. And then if anyone on the enemy team tries to farm mid or top in any place that's not directly on their tier 3 tower, they kill them with the observer wards. And if they come try and de-ward the wards, you're standing on top of them, the wards. And if they come try and de-ward, you just kill them. And you just secure a bunch of Roshans and just farm like 70% of the map while the enemy team can't farm shit. And then if you want, your Tiny can get Shadowblade and he can go run around hunting heroes and you could just relocate to that. It's like really easy for them to play. You know?
It feels like the Radiant are starving out the Dire.
Yes,
it just
that's
really
exactly
feels
what
like the Drow and the Gyro just don't have the items they need to contest. Actually, what do you think of this Hooded Defiance on Gyrocopter?
I think it's kind of good. I don't think he should be going BKB immediately after. Like he's going he gets Hood and then he gets Yasha and now he's going BKB. I think he wants to go something different. I think this Hood is fine, right? Because you like in the late game, imagine if this Gyro in some late game, like they get to late game and Gyro has farm and shit, and he's a 5-second BKB. It feels kind of bad, right? Because like Zeus and Tiny and Dark Willow kind of own him, right? Nimbus goes SQ is pushing bottom.
Yeah, that was the reveal of the Nimbus as well.
Yeah. But like it's kind of fine because he wants to like a longer BKB in the late game, which is a fine reason to get a Hooded Defiance early. I think it's really smart. But like to go Hood and then go Yasha and then just get the BKB right after, it feels kind of low value then, right? Because you're like, oh, well, I'm just gonna buy the BKB anyway, so why did I even buy the Hood in the first place? Because the Hood does not help the
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Starting to assault the tower. The Radiant.
Yeah. They have
They
Aegis, so
send
they
out
want to go bottom.
Imprian to scout
Dire's
and
bottom
place some
tower has
wards.
fallen.
The Superior Vision, it looks like they're just gonna roll through the second one as well.
Yeah, they can't fight.
Dire's bottom tower
Radiant
is
can't,
under
or Dire
attack.
can't fight. I don't even think Dire can defend high ground. I mean,
They have Aegis too, so they could just go high ground.
Yeah, I would like to see this Ursa pick up a Dasso instead of an Abyss Leader, but that's just me. Just because like none of their heroes hit towers particularly well. Like Tiny's pretty good at it, but not great because he can just walk uphill, right? And he's banished, and they put a tombstone down, and it feels kind of bad to fight like that.
Right.
But like Ursa, you don't really care because A, he's your Aegis hero, and B, he's got like his ultimate, right? So kind of like a Deso, so Ursa can really threaten high ground.
Leap forward, Yule's up on the Tiny. The Bramble is out with the Avalanche, and the Nimbus picks up Uno. Actually, the last hit of the Avalanche does. Nephilim now under trouble, running away from the Ursa, but the IO will see his carry out. Meanwhile, Versatis on the backline picks up the Undying anyway. Buyback from the Lina. Missile gets killed by Imprian, and they regroup to continue taking the tower, but wow, that's a dieback already onto the Lina. That lightning bolt.
Yeah, Selena's got like 1,000. He's got less than 1,000 HP. He's gonna die a lot. He's got 4 armor and less than 1,000 HP. He's not tanky at all.
Frisbee still has the Aegis, so they have nothing to be afraid of. That was
Yeah.
everything that they have. I think it might be over. They could just roll through the rest of their...
I really wish this Wisp bought an Urn so we could heal the Ursa to full HP. I feel like that'd be really nice. I really like the decision to go Hood by Wisp, but I wish he would have bought an Urn.
Well, he's got cheese, so I mean,
Yeah, but you don't want to like pop cheese. Like it's kind of odd to just pop cheese like that, you know?
yeah.
And like you only have cheese one time. Whereas he could have like they've killed a lot of people, right? They have 29 kills. He could have a lot. Like obviously some of those were before he would have had an Urn, but he would have gotten a lot of Urn charges.
Right. Tombstone is down, but Waifu just attacking. The ultimate onto Waifu, runs back to Imprian.
Yeah.
I think that was the bad ultimate, actually.
Yeah.
Because the movement speed is determined by his partner.
Well, exactly. It's not great, but I mean, they're just trying to like get him out of their base. I really wish this Ursa would have gone Desolator though. I think they could have made the exact same move, but made it 2 minutes later, and Ursa could have bought a Desolator and had Deso for that, and they would have gotten at least the tier 3 for sure.
Why'd you Radiant back off here? Oh, Imprian might have overstayed his welcome. Missile is there. But the Yules manages to miss, and they regroup 4 to save their mate.
They're all half HP, and Ursa just like wanted to farm his Abyssal because he's like 300 gold away. They're all like half HP on Wisp, they're half HP on Tiny, they're half HP on Ursa, and they're half HP on Dark Willow. They're gonna come back. Now they have Abyssal. Gyro's dead if they just
Yeah, the
Abyssal.
Abyssal is a guaranteed kill at
Kinda
this
not.
point.
No, because they have banished Nesty, so they can save. I don't really get why Wisp is hitting. Doesn't feel very correct to me.
Maybe just to get some damage so he can heal up. I mean, oh, never mind. He's got overcharge, of course. Duh. I don't know. That's a good question.
They feel so awkward about hitting this, because like Ursa feels like he does no damage and no one else wants to walk up the hill.
And he jumps forward onto Cello. The right clicks are there. Silence with the ultimate.
He hit the turn.
Nimbus.
bottom tower
Undying
is
2
under
down,
attack.
demolished instantly. But IO
Jeez,
could
jeez,
pay.
jeez. Just use it, you greedy bitch.
He's so greedy. They jump forward once again, pick up the drow, and this time
Oh, that
Oof.
was there. And you're just
Buy
a
back.
sad little girl.
they
Bet
also
your
managed to
teal
pick up
feels
Uno
fucking
again
stupid.
too.
Bet your teal feels fucking stupid for saving his cheese. Now he just stands there at 400 HP and he's still too scared to go in anyways. He's like breaking tether because he's like too afraid he thinks he's gonna die to some garbage, like a flak shot and an ulti from
Dire's
Gyro.
bottom barracks are under
They
attack.
can't.
Dire's
They call
I
it.
think
has fallen.
Dire had a way better draft, but they just didn't lane it right. Like I think that Drow last pick was actually so like I didn't even see that coming. It was really smart, but then they just didn't lane it mid, and then they like lost lanes because of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, it was still a good series. I loved watching both of them. Again, it's a learning experience, but overall, thanks for the scrim. Thank you for letting us cast, and hopefully see you next game.